Hello and welcome to the Outdoor Show. I'm your host, Robert Bruton. And as you can see, I'm in a RV. I'm sitting here doing the show today from a camper. Since we do an outdoor show, it's a good place to do it. And today, what we're talking about is keeping your pets safe at the campground and keeping your pets safe while you're hiking, okay? A lot of folks like to take their dogs and things like that out hiking, and that's totally fine, totally cool. But there are some things that if you've never taken your pet or you're not really sure what's going on out in the wilderness, this is not a place to go out and just let your dog free range. And let me tell you a real short story of something that happened to me. And honestly, I had no idea. But I was out on the beach in South Texas. I had just moved there, and my dog Glitzy, which I'll put a picture of Glitzy coming through, or probably a couple. But anyway, I was letting Glitzy love to chase seabirds. And she loved to kind of mosey around in the dunes and just play around and stuff like that. And, I never thought anything about this, but a really nice lady came by and she saw me out there and playing with Glitzy and helping her chase birds and stuff. She loved to chase seabirds. Oh my God, she'd go just crazy and her tail wagging a million miles an hour. And you could just tell she was having a ball. And and here's a funny story, whatever was the stinkiest thing that was on the beach, she would absolutely go and just roll in it. Okay, so it was whether it was a dead fish, seaweed that just stunk, if it stank, she was going to go find it and she was going to roll in it. So anyway, back to my original story. My lady stops and she tells me, she goes, you look like you're having a lot of fun with your dog. And she goes, have you ever been down here? And I said, no, I've only been here a few weeks. And she said, well, let me give you some unsolicited, really good advice. She said, you got a really sweet dog. And she said, I know you don't want to lose her. And I said, absolutely not. I said, she's not going to run off. And she said, that's not what I'm talking about. Lose her because an animal gets her. And I said, what are you talking about? And she goes, do you know that these dunes are covered in two things, rattlesnakes and coyotes? And I was like, no, I'm at the beach. I didn't think about coyotes and rattlesnakes being at the beach. And she goes, well, they're up here in the dunes, but as you can see, the dunes are close enough to the water and things like that that a coyote could stalk out your animal and just grab your pet and be gone before you even knew it. And it just, my heart sunk. I was like, oh my God. And she said the other thing is she said there is a horrible rattlesnake infestation in this area. She said they're everywhere. She said homeowners fight with them. She said it's terrible. And you can't just go around, apparently can't go around killing them, which, I'm not a big advocate of killing something that just, I mean, there has to be some way to control, that environment so that folks are safe and maybe relocating these animals if possible. But I understand government budgets, blah, blah, blah. So, but that's not what this is about. All right. So that was a real eye-opener for me. And so I got to thinking about it, and I've written several articles on camping with your pets and keeping your babies safe. And I just wanted to do a video in support of those articles that you can go to my website, and there'll be a link at the bottom that'll have direct links to the articles that we have. And so here's some things to think about when you're out with your pet, okay? One is never let them off leash. And if you're going to let them off leash, okay, then do so in an area where you've got a whole lot of eyesight, okay? And make sure that your dog will come on command no matter what. Because you don't want them running after a coyote, you don't want them running after a bear, you don't want them running after a mountain lion, bobcat, or any other creature like that. You don't want them chasing raccoons up a tree. I had another dog that we lived in some apartments, and he took out after a mama possum, and the mama possum got her little baby possums up the tree, and she came right back down. She wasn't having it. Came right back down and came after our dog. And she didn't get him. He ran off, but she was coming right after him. And if she'd have got a hold of him, I'm quite sure she would have done a lot of damage. Because possums, if you look at their teeth, yeah, they got plenty of teeth and plenty of sharp teeth and big old canines like your dog. So you know, you want to make sure that when you let your dog go, if you let your dog go, if you've got a little lap dog, I don't think I keep them on leash. That's my best advice. Keep them on leash, okay? That way you can grab them up and you can get them up out of the way and out of harm's way quickly. Okay, if you've got a big dog, I get it. They need to get out. They need to stretch their legs, and no place better than nature to do that. But be aware of your surroundings. And the best way to do that is to talk to a park ranger or go by the park ranger's office and find out what predatory animals might be in the area, what are the best places to let your dog run and get some exercise and have some fun with you. And when do you need to worry? When do you not? You know, you always need to worry, but there are times when maybe you could, you know, let them out, let them chase a ball and things like that. And I'm thinking, you know, an open field, an open meadow, something like that where you can see a pretty good distance. There's not a lot of cover for animals to hide, to stalk your pet. And remember, your pet's on the food chain, so, and on the lower end of the food chain. You might have a really badass dog, and he would, you know, eat anything, but you know, you put him up against a bobcat or something like that, you know, maybe, you know, dogs are pretty resilient, but why put your pet in harm's way? Okay, there's just no reason for that if we take a few precautions. Okay, and that's not giving us any 100% guarantee that something couldn't happen, but certainly if we're mindful and aware, then we can protect our babies a lot. So, you know, and also don't leave. If you, let's say you're camping in an RV, for example. This is a beautiful RV, and let's say you come in, you know, you're going to camp out, but you want to let your dog get some fresh air and things like that. The bad thing about that is now that you can't see predatory animals that might be able to come, or you couldn't hear them coming after your dog, and by the time your dog's barking and you get out the door, it may be too late. So don't leave your babies out, especially small dogs. Don't leave your babies out where predatory animals can stalk them and they will snatch them right off a leash as quick as they can anything else. And that could be a horrible, horrible scene. It could be a horrible moment. So never leave your dog outside alone. Okay, always be with your pets. Just like children, you would never leave your child playing around in the forest. You know, you wouldn't leave a toddler playing out in the forest unattended. Same thing with your pet. Okay, make sure that you don't leave food lying about outside. Dog food. Here's the thing: so many animals have such a keen sense of smell that's kind of, you know, they're always looking for food. You know, it's a little harder for an animal out in the wild to get a meal. And if they can get a free meal out of your dog's bowl, you know, then that's going to keep them coming back, and they will fight your dog for the food. So just make sure that when your dog eats, that you take up the dog's food bowl, you rinse it out really good, make sure there's no residual smell. You might even put your dog's bowl into a plastic bag, you know, something that can seal, okay? That will help. You might even put some coffee grounds into your food bowl and into the bag so it smells more like coffee grounds. You know, bleach is also something that you could pour in there, although you can't really, I would, you know, unless you can rinse the bowl out. I don't want your dogs eating bleach, obviously. I wouldn't do it, but you know, you can't, if you do use a little wipe, you know, just a little bit of bleach on there will take that smell out. And then rinse it really good before your dog eats out of the bowl again. Because here's the thing, you know, animals can smell from a huge distance, so you don't want them to be coming up and potential, well, just making a mess of your campsite, but also being a potential threat to you and your family, okay? Because hungry animals are nothing to fool with, okay? You want to make sure too that if you're tent sleeping, make sure you know what predatory animals are in the wild. You know, it may be safer to leave your dog at home than to bring your dog out, you know, hiking with you, especially if you're in high mountain country and things like that. Know where you're at, know what you've got going on. You know, big campfires and things like that help keep animals, you know, especially predatory animals, away. So, you know, but you may not always, you know, if you're asleep, the fire's going to die. okay? And once the fire dies, if an animal can smell your pet from a distance, that could present a real problem, especially if you're in your tent, okay? And your dog's going to do everything they can. Remember, your dog's going to do everything they can to protect you, okay? So they're going to get between you and a predatory animal, and that's not a good place for them to be, okay? You know, let's not put them there unless we, you know, hopefully we'll never have to, I guess is my point. And secondly, enjoy yourself out when you're and by all means be able to take your pets out into the woods with you and stuff like that, but be mindful. Don't let them go sniffing around. Dogs love to sniff, okay? And here's the thing: if they're sniffing under a rock or under a log, you know, you need to get them up and out of that way. So you need to make sure that they understand, learn to teach them to stay away from things like that, because you don't know what's creeping around underneath a log. And especially when you sit down, and I'm gonna kind of go a little off topic here for just a second, but when you sit down on a log, before you sit down on a log, you need to kick that log, you know, at the end of it, and make sure there's no snakes or anything like that out there. And because what happens is when you put your hands down to sit back on the log, you can't see, and you're either going to get bit in the butt or you're going to get bit in the hand. You know, if you're not looking and if you're not taking some precautions. Well, your dog going down there and sniffing up underneath the logs and up underneath rocks, and that's just man, that just spells disaster. Okay, so let's be mindful of where your dog is, especially if it's off leash. Okay. If you can, try to keep your dog on leash, or try to keep your dog, you know, in a little pouch in front of you or what have you. But you know, make sure that you keep your animals safe. Okay. I'm gonna kind of cut it off there and just tell you, hey, I've got some articles on pets and camping, and I'm going to put those down at the bottom. This is the Robert Bruton Outdoor Show, so I hope you'll subscribe. You know, we're going to be doing a lot of really cool stuff, especially this winter. We're going to get out and be in New Mexico. We're going to go try to be up for the first weekend of skiing at Ski Apache, and give you a little update of what's going on up in Ruidoso and surrounding area. Maybe get over to Cloudcroft and see what's happening there, and hopefully get some good snow reports this year, and be taking some, doing some stuff on the different campgrounds around that area, and what you can do in the wintertime to enjoy yourself and have some fun outdoors. So anyway, please subscribe. Again, it's at the bottom down here. It's subscribe. If you hit the bell, every time that I post something new, you'll get an alert. It'll come to you on an email and tell you that we've got a new show up. What's cool about it is if it's on a topic you don't want to do, then just delete the email. It's no big deal. But at least if it comes up where it's something that you go, oh, I'm going to check that out, that might be kind of cool. We do lots of stuff on RVing. We do lots of stuff on camping, fishing, you know. So we're going to have some more cool information. We're going to, next video, we're going to talk about camping with kids and what you need to do with little ones when they're out camping, and how to teach little ones to be mindful of where they're stepping, what they're looking at, and be mindful of all the things that are around and what they shouldn't do if they come upon a wild animal. Okay, and not scream. And we got to teach our kids not to, you know, freak out, because if they start running and you're around a predatory animal, it's just like your dog. If your dog starts running, that means food. Okay, and that we don't want that tragedy. So we're going to teach you some fun stuff about how to be out in the wild and make sure that you keep your family safe and sound. All right. All right, well, that's going to do it for today, and I appreciate everybody's time, and we look forward to you the next time. Thanks again.